guys, I'm so excited to be here with you today. So Lynn is our early childhood coordinator. She has 3 girls. I'll let you tell them about your girls.
Okay. So hi, like she said, I am Lynn and I am your early childhood coordinator, and I also help out at the church for admin stuff. But me and my family have actually been coming to Compass for over 7 years now. And this is home. I mean, it just always has been. So we have 3 girls. We have Sarah, who's 12. We have Ava, who's 9, and then we have Lily, who is 3.
Okay.
So quite some big age gaps there.
Yeah, so you have middle school, elementary, and then not quite elementary.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to interview Lynn because just recently, she and her husband Chris decided to send her 2 oldest girls, Sarah and Ava, to Pinecove camp for overnight camp. And it was Ava's first overnight camp, which was a big deal.
Huge.
But also, we know like this is just a weird time for us as people, but especially as parents with kids who feel like they're alone, who can't, like, this is just an odd time. So I just wanted to ask Lynn a few questions on how she got to that point of feeling confident and comfortable in making that decision to send her kiddos to Pinecove, and see if maybe she could encourage you to in hopefully a new way. So what is something that your girls have struggled with since, you know, this has like been the longest spring break on the planet?
Yes, it is.
So what is something that your girls have struggled with since spring break started?
No kidding.
And never ended back in March? What's something that they've been struggling with? The 2 older ones specifically.
Yeah, so for sure with our older ones, they're very social children. Sarah volunteers at church. I mean, she's just very outgoing. And so we actually were on our family vacation during spring break, and we came home to the pandemic.
Okay.
So we were fresh off of a vacation. So I would say the first month we did okay. You know, we were kind of coming fresh off the beach, so we were just kind of like, you know, it's a great time to just hang out at the house and do board games.
Yeah.
After that first month, everything really just started to go downhill for them. So like emotionally, they just were really struggling. They had so many questions about how school was going to start and what all their summer camps were canceled. All of their, my oldest, for her volleyball stuff, it all got canceled. Just started to slowly start to see them kind of go into a shell almost, if that's a good way to explain it. Just very like, not really wanting to engage with the family as much anymore. Sometimes I couldn't even get Sarah to come down for like a game night. I mean, we were definitely starting to see some effects of the COVID mess.
Right. Do they like school? Do your girls like going to school?
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah, that's a huge thing, especially Ava. Sarah is middle school, so we have our good days and our bad days. But then Ava loves school so much. She's 4th grade. I mean, she's still really in it. So coming up to not knowing whether or not they were going to go to school was a big deal.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What initially initiated the thought of, hey, maybe we should send them somewhere, like not even necessarily Pinecove, but maybe we should look into some like an overnight camp to engage them a little bit more? Like what initiated that thought?
So I think what finally made me decide I had to do something was Chris and I have a time with the girls that we pray every night, and we do it individually with them. We were having our prayer time, and it was the 3 of us, and she just broke down crying. I'll try not to cry because it was really hard for me.
It's okay.
And she was like, I am lost. She's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing every day. She goes, all I do is watch the baby, because she helps out with our 3-year-old a lot. And I can't even see my friends. I've lost touch with a bunch of them. So even though she has a cell phone and she could text and everything, they drifted. And she just fell asleep in my arms crying that night. And Chris and I we just looked at each other, also lost. We're like, now what do we do? Mm-hmm. And I woke up that next morning and I just told him, I was like, we have to do something. And their mental health at this point was more important than the threat of them getting COVID. I had 2 friends that had already sent their kids to Pinecove that year, and they had a very great experience, and they ranted and raved about the safety and the protocols, and everybody came back healthy with no problems, and that's what led me into Pinecove. So Sarah's was just desperate at that point.
Right.
Ava doesn't quite know how to put it into words yet, so we were seeing it more in her attitude. Acting out, totally being disrespectful.
Did you ever have a thought like they could get sick from me sending them? Like, how did you handle that decision making, and like how did the pros of them going to camp outweigh the fear and the cons of COVID-19.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There was still a fear. I mean, even driving to the camp, we were still worried. But we knew that, through a lot of prayer, knew that this was just what was best for our kids at that time. And I just had to keep reminding myself, they're healthy. We're very, very thankful to have healthy kids. They don't have any previous medical conditions or anything. So worst case, they got it. And we talked to them about that. And we just said, hey, I need to know if this is worth it. You go for a week and you could have the most amazing week of your life.
But you could get sick.
You could get sick and you could be quarantined for 10 days, or somebody could get sick and you still have to be quarantined. Like, is that something you would be willing to risk? And they both said it was worth it. They were just so anxious, not just to get out of the house, but to learn more about Jesus and to worship with their friends again and to make new friends. And they were so desperate. They didn't care if they got sick, And of course, as a parent, you still care and you pray that they don't. But at some point, you just have to know, like, God's already come before me. This plan is already laid out, and I really felt very strongly that it was worth the risk.
Yeah. Well, and I know too, like we had talked before you sent them, and just even the financial side of it just fell right into place with scholarships and being able to afford it. And it, like a week before, they were like literally the doors were opening. And so I know for me, not even in just parenting, but in life in general, like I always see that as like if God starts opening these doors over things I'm praying for, like that is my sign, because I'm such a visual person of I need you to slap me in the face of this is it or this is not it. And so I think that is a really great indication for you guys, you and Chris, that you have been praying like, God, what do you want me to do with these kids? Like they're struggling, they're suffering. Like I don't want them to suffer, but at the same time, I also don't want them to get COVID. Like open a door, and he totally did. And so
that's so true. It did. It fell all right in place. And I can count the thousands of times you and I have prayed over our staff and over each other and whatever. And it's always that. It's like, I need a sign. Like, if this is what I need to be doing with these kids, give me something. And you're right, it fell into place so perfectly. It had to have been his plan.
What is some advice that you would tell a parent that's thinking that they're scared that their child is continuing without peer interaction at school or camp or wherever else, a church, but they're also really scared of sickness and COVID?
I think my only advice is you need to do what is best for your family. You need to focus on what, you need to read your kids. You know your kids better than anybody else. So nobody is going to be able to tell you what the best thing is for you to do. And to try to weed out a lot of the judgmental stuff that could come in based off the decisions that you make. Try not to let that alter your decisions. You know what's best for your kids, and absolutely you've got to keep checking in.
And I know summer camps are summer's coming to a close. School starts in the next couple weeks, and it's going to be virtual for a little bit, which is really weird, and then it goes in person for some people. So I know camp in Pinecove is not necessarily an option anymore this summer, but I still wanted to bring Lynn in because I feel like so much of this can apply to school and can apply to, do I send them to physical school? Do I homeschool? What do you do? And honestly, I don't think that there's a right or a wrong answer. I think everybody's answer is different based off of your kid, based off of your family situation, based off of the needs of your kid. Some of your kids probably need to be homeschooled because they're really fearful and they're doing fine with where they're at. Some of your kids may need to go to school and you're wrestling with that situation of, okay, I know I need to send them because they need that peer-to-peer interaction, they need that structure, but also I'm really scared. And so anyway, I just really appreciate you coming and being vulnerable, because I know that also that can put you up for some judgment on the fact that you sent your kids to Pinecove. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us. We hope this helped you. If you have any questions or anything, we would love to chat. You can feel free to reach out to us via email, or we're about to be at in-person services for adults starting on August 20th at our Thursday service, and then August 23rd for our Sunday services. But thank you so much, guys. We love you guys, and we're praying for you, and we're rooting for you. Bye.